Right. How can I live in the world and not be worldly? Well, the Lord Jesus, He chose the 12 apostles and He says, you no longer belong to this world because I have chosen you from this world. How can you live in the world and not be worldly? Well, in everything you do, my dear, have Christ in it. So, if sports, if anything, any activities, whether it be for your children or anything you do, your husband, anyone does, if we put that thing as a priority and place it before God, then we've got a problem. But if I am praying, if I am going to church, if I am remembering Christ, if I am reading the Holy Bible, if I am fasting, I am doing as a Christian is ought to do, and putting Christ always as number one in my life. Example, when you take your child to that basketball or karate, say, Lord, let's go together so you protect me and my son or daughter while we're going and while we're coming back. Be with us, Lord, and protect them when they are playing their sport, whether it be basketball or whatever game it is. Lord, bless my children and be with them. Sport, in a way, is healthy. It's good for the mind. Keeps you occupied in a good way instead of sitting at home in your room with your iPhone in your hand and just flicking through Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, wick, wack, wack, wack. So sport is healthy. But as long as you have Christ, you don't forget Him. You take Him with you. You remember Him. You love Him. You adore Him. This is what the Lord wants. Not everyone was born to be a nun. Not everyone was born to be a monk. And not everyone definitely was born to be a good-looking bishop like me. I had to rub it in, hey. So we need to take it easy. Christ is simple. But in His simplicity, He is complex. We should never complicate things. It takes wisdom to be simple. And it takes ignorance to be complicated. So a person that complicates things and makes Jesus as if He is so hard to be with and live with, you're an ignorant person. But the more you are filled with the wisdom of Christ, the simpler you become and the easier you become, and you start laughing, joking, and playing basketball with Jesus, baby. Come on, Jesus, let me see who's going to win. Me or you? Or you or me? The Lord wants your heart. The Lord wants your heart. When the Lord rose from the dead, He called Simon Peter, who denied Him in the Last Supper. What did the Lord Jesus ask Simon Peter? One question, and that question will be asked to every single one of us. Do you love me? Love is to do with the heart. That's all He's going to ask. He's not going to say, why did you go and play basketball? No, He said, do you love me? Because the thing is, what is the point of me going to church and not loving the Lord? What is the point of me going and receiving the Holy Communion as a habit, as a duty, as an obligation? You need to live Christ. And the only way you're going to live Christ is when you begin to love Him. Because you cannot live with someone you do not love. It takes love to be able to live with someone. So Christ wants your heart, my daughter. So don't worry. Take your child to basketball. But before basketball game comes, the church comes, mom and dad. So I'll take my son, my daughter to the church, and I'll show them the way to the Lord. And then on a social level, yeah, it's okay. You go out and have a fish burger and a chocolate sundae, and I'm going to start charging Maccas because I'm promoting them, and I shouldn't be. We cannot be an over-saved Christian. Have you heard of this expression, over-saved? I'll give you an example of what an over-saved Christian is. You can't live with that person. It's kind of complicated. Imagine you are with an over-saved Christians at Macca's. Again, McDonald's. You're at Macca's, right? And then You've placed your order and you're waiting for your order, and then you say, "Oh, brother, I'm hungry." The over-saved Christian replies and says, "Jesus said, I am the living bread that descended from heaven. He who eats me shall never hunger again." And then you say, "I'm thirsty." Jesus said, "I am the living water. He who drinks me shall never thirst again." "Oh, I think I lost my car keys." Jesus said, "You need the keys to enter God's kingdom." He said, "Mate, I don't drive a kingdom. I can't fit into the garage." We need to relax. Jesus is simple, is humble. He is love. Love Him and share Him with everyone in your life. And wherever you go, take Him with you. But one thing, do not take Jesus to a place He disapproves of. Sport is okay. I'm sure if you run with the Lord, you won't beat Him. He's a good runner. And when it comes to building, if you're in the building industry, you're not going to get anyone of a greatest carpenter to exist than Jesus Christ. So He's a brilliant builder. But you see, give Him your heart. That's all it is. Just love the Lord. Don't be complicated. So, my dear, how can I live in the world and not be worldly? Live in the world with Christ. Live in the world with Christ. You know, as a mom, as a wife, as a husband, as children, sons and daughters, now that you're a mother, I'm going to say this to you, my dear. You get up in the morning. How can you live with the Lord? I'll give you a very simple explanation. You get up in the morning. You want to wash your face? Say, "Lord, just like I'm washing my face with this water, wash me clean with your precious blood." You put on your clothes. "Lord, just like I'm clothing myself, clothe me with your righteousness." Just like I'm eating, "Lord, I'm filling my physical being. Fill me spiritually, Lord." And wherever you go, take the Lord with you. This is living in the world, but not being worldly, because the day you forget Christ, you are a worldly being. The day you remember Christ, you belong to Him now. You are a spiritual being. You are no longer living for the world, but rather living only in it, but not for it. It's very simple. Love the Lord and do not be afraid.